for math. I will be able to analyze a set of fractions and create a rule for ordering fractions with the same numerator. Okay, so there's a lot going on for us today. It is challenging, but I know that you both are ready for it. So creating a rule. Now, remember when we were playing games and I was like, we need a set of rules so that way I know and all of us know exactly how to do this. That's kind of what you guys are going to be doing today is you will be creating a rule so everybody follows it and it always works and it helps organize our information. Now, numerator, when we're talking about a fraction, we're talking about the number that's at the very top, okay? So 1/2, 1/4, 1/6, 1/10. So see how all of those had the 1? So that's how we have the same numerator. And if the denominator is different, how do we create a rule for those? But before we get started, what we're going to do is we're going to count by halves to 4, okay? You're going to clap each of the holes, and those ones are going to be in red, okay? Yeah, you're going to clap at each of the holes. So count by halves with me, and we're going to start here. 0/2, 1/2, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves, 7 halves, 8 halves. Okay? I didn't realize that I had labeled them. Well, there they are. So as you can see, that is what we did. Now count by fourths to 3. Okay? So we have we always start with 0, right? So we go 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, 12/4. Next one. Count by eighths to 2. Okay? 0/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, 9/8, 10/8, 11/8, 12/8, 13/8, 14/8, 15/8, 16/8. Wow, that was a lot. So, what mistake did Steve make? Use your fraction number line poster, fraction strips, fraction circles, or fraction cards to help you. Mark an X, I provided the X for you here, on the card that Steve put in the wrong group. Show or explain how you decided. So, Steve is sorting the number sides of his fraction cards into 2 groups. Fractions greater than half are right here, fractions all greater than half, and fractions less than half over here. And he made a mistake. So something over here or something over here is wrong. And what I want you to do is grab the X and put it where you think it belongs. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So with a partner, you don't have a partner. Write a rule that Steve can use to check whether a fraction is greater than half or less than half. So you might want to go back or think back to before spring break when we had that dotted red line down all of our number lines going, these are greater than half and these are less than half. What was the rule? Okay. And usually when you're writing a rule, if blank, then blank usually works. So if a number blah, 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 then you know it's blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's kind of your clue. All right, and I'm actually going to tell you the answer to the last one right here. The one that is in the wrong spot is this one right here. And how do we know that? How do we know that this one belongs over here? What is common about all of these and all of these? Okay, so that's to help you write your rule. Now, some rules to consider. If the fraction is on the left side of the number line, then it is less than half. If the fraction is on the right side of the number line, then it is more than half. See how I did the if then? If, then. If, then. So for each problem, you may use any of your fraction tools to help. You could use fraction circles, fraction strips, fraction number line poster, fraction cards, or you can draw out the fractions on a piece of paper to help you organize these. So here are a bunch of fractions right here. Write the fractions in order from least, the smallest fraction, to the greatest fraction, okay? What does it mean to order fractions from least to greatest? So for instance, if I am drawing a fraction circle, and let's go with, sorry, just a second. Or even better yet, when we were looking at our fraction strips, I'm just going to draw a couple. Here are some fraction strips. I have not written in the fraction. So let's say I'm going to write in the fraction 1/2 and 1/4. Now remember, for the 1/4 fraction strip, you are splitting it up into 4 pieces, okay? Like that. I have 1/2 and 1/4. So let's shade in and let's say, okay, so if this is 1/2 and this is 1/4, which one is bigger and which one is less than? So if I was to order these fractions from least to greatest, I would say 1/4 and then I would say 1/2. So that is your clue for least to greatest. What else are you asked to do in this problem? Okay, what else are you asked to do in this problem? You need to write them in order from least to greatest and to just look at them and see, well, actually you have another problem in number 2. But if you're having trouble figuring it out, if one fraction is bigger or smaller than the other, try drawing it out just like I had done. Or you can use these strips that I provided for you, or you can put them on a number line. You guys have demonstrated that you know how to put fractions on a number line fairly easily. So if you're able to do that, then you should be able to put any of these on a number line in order for you to figure out which one is less and which one is bigger. Okay, so here's your assignment. You're going to write the fractions in order from least to greatest. So then you have to write the smallest fraction first, the biggest fraction at the end. Then you got to tell me, what patterns do you notice? How are these fractions the same or different? So we already know, though, that they all have the same numerator. Okay. So you could actually put that as something that you notice because I told you that they would all have the same numerator. But what makes them different? And do you see a pattern when you order them from least to greatest? What does that pattern look like? Okay. So then what you're going to do, these are all the same numerator again. Now we're looking at 2's, and you're going to write the fractions in order from least to greatest again. Okay. So does it make a difference when the numerator has changed? You will find out. Okay. So what patterns do you notice? How are these fractions the same or different? Like I already told you, all of these have the same numerators. You could write that as something that you notice. But I do need more on what pattern do you see. We can use rules to solve more than one of the same type of problem. We often figure out rules based on patterns that repeat. Rules always work. So if you're writing a rule, because you will be tasked with writing a rule, when you write a rule, you have to think of both problem 1 and problem 2, because it should, whatever the rule is, it should work for both problems, no matter the numerator, okay? So, questions to consider when writing your rule. Think about the numerators and denominators in problem 1. What patterns do you see? How is the size of the denominator related to the size of the fraction when the numerators are all 1? Think about fraction circle pieces or pizzas. Pizza is good. Does the rule need to work for any set of fractions with the same numerator? Yes, the rule has to work for any set of fractions with the same numerator. That's the whole reason why we have both the numerators that are all the 1 and the numerators that are all 2. Okay? Now, write a rule for ordering fractions with the same numerator. And like I put here, you can use if, then. If, then, Okay? So, after you're done with that, you're going to play Fraction Topic on your Chromebooks on Everyday Math Games. You click on Top It, and then you could go to Top It Fractions with Picture 1, Picture 2, without Picture 1, without Picture 2. All very fun, very challenging, and so I hope you enjoy that as well. I think next is English Language Arts. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here. Go ahead and get to work on your math, and I will see you for English Language Arts.